All right, so you want to work out, you want to build some muscle, you don't have any equipment, you don't have a gym membership. What can you do? Lots of shit you can do. All right, so do you have steps? If you can't do a push-up yet, if a push-up is too difficult for you, or if you can only do so many push-ups, it's not enough, then you want to make it easier, you push upwards of the steps, okay? For instance, as you come down, it'll get harder till you get to a flat push-up, right? You start up nice and high, like this. You can do them wide, you can do them narrow, right? Too easy, move down a step. Right? Too easy, move down another step. Keep moving down the steps until you're doing a flat push-up if you can't do that many right now. Once a flat push-up gets too easy for you, then you do just the opposite. Work your way back up the steps, such as start your feet on the bottom step, hands out here, move your feet up to the next step, do some more push-ups, move your feet up to the next step, do some more push-ups. It just continue to get progressively harder. So, head facing down, more difficult. Head facing up, easier. All right, don't have any steps that you can access like that? Do you have a bench, picnic bench? Do you have a low table? Do you have a chair or stool, something like that? See, like this. Same deal here. Put my feet out there on the ground, put my hands up on this. If I'm not ready for a regular full-fledged push-up yet, then I can do more that way. Or I can turn around if it's too easy. If a flat's too easy, I can put my feet up on here, elevate my feet, do the push-up on the ground, make it more difficult. How about pull-ups? Do you have does your mom or somebody have a clothesline outside or a pole? Is this something that's high enough and sturdy enough you can hang off of and do pull-ups on it? If not, do you have a tree? If you have a tree with a good sturdy branch that'll support your weight, do pull-ups on the branch. Now I know what you're thinking. What if the branch is too big around and I can't get a grip on that fucking branch? Get you some rope. Get you some nice sturdy rope. Tie a good knot. Do you know how to tie a good knot that's not going to come apart so you don't bust your ass? No? Tough shit. Necessity is a mother. You'll learn. The real saying is necessity is a mother of invention. But necessity can also be a motherfucker. Take the rope, tie it around the loops. Grab the loops in your hands like this. Is it tearing your little fucking dick skinners up? All right, put a rag around your hands. Wear some gloves. Though you'll have a neutral grip when you do your pull-ups. What about a bucket? Do you have any buckets? Buckets can be a useful, invaluable tool. Take yourself a bucket with a handle like this, right? Put you some rocks in there. I like rocks. You can use dirt, you can use sand, you can use water if the bucket will hold it. Now you can do your curls. When you need to lighten the load, you can't keep going, throw a couple rocks out. Do some more, right? Put the rocks back into the other arm. That way you can do drop sets. You can do curls with the bucket. You can also do back work with the bucket. Look at that. That bucket's on the floor. Look at that. You don't want to be bent over too far anyway when you're doing rows. Load that bucket up. There's your back work. One arm at a time, same deal. Rocks, dirt, sand, water, whatever you got. What about ladders? Do you have any ladders? You can take a ladder, throw it across your shoulder, do squats. What about a chair? You got a chair? You take a chair like this, you can turn it around and you can do dips on the chair. Triceps like this. Or you can put two chairs, one hand on each one, and do your triceps that way, more of a dip type of thing. Or you can take three chairs, put a hand on each chair, and one out in front of you for your heels to be, your legs crossed and your heels sitting on it. If you can't fit them both side by side, my quads are too big, you might be able to do it. Or turn around, stomach down, do your push-ups between the two chairs with your feet on the third chair. That way you can go deeper. You can go deeper than you would with a push-up, a conventional push-up on a floor. So there's all kind of shit that you can do. You're only limited by your ability to look at something and envision how you can employ it. Basically, working out is doing work. Doing work. How can you work your muscles? It's what it is. You need to continue to increase and escalate the workload as you go. So just do more reps. Add weight. Find things you can make it heavier with. You can curl cans. You can take, like I said, I started out curling buckets with water in the buckets. I actually had a couple crankshafts. I used to work at Rick's Volkswagen when I was in my early 20s. I had a couple crankshafts. I had a 4-cylinder crankshaft, I had a 6-cylinder crankshaft, and I had a V8 crankshaft. And I would curl the crankshafts. So anything you look at, if it's heavy and you can grip it, you can lift it. Same thing with presses, overhead presses. Whatever you can figure out how to do it. It's all about just doing the work. What about calves? You can do calves on the edge of a step. If you don't have any additional weight, then do 1 foot at a time. Do 1 foot at a time. You can get a really good stretch on the step, lower than the step and then come up on your tiptoes. You can do one leg or calf, then you can do the other one, then you can do them both together. So there's all kind of things you can do. You can take your buckets again with your rocks, and you can do one leg and have a bucket of rocks in your hand if you think it's not heavy enough. But I'm telling you, your body weight is heavy enough. Just keep doing the reps. You're going to do less reps each time. Do 100 fucking reps. Squats are the same deal. You can do free body weight squats, back squats. Okay? You can also have, there's actually a one-legged squat you can do while you're holding on to something for balance if need be. You can do your 2 buckets again with rocks in them. Squat with those in your hands. It'll actually help to balance you even better. So there's tons of things you can do. Tons of things you can do. You can do tricep extensions with various objects in your hand that are heavy. Or you can take duct tape and make some kind of a handle and wrap it around and fasten it on something that you might want to curl or that you might want to use for tricep extensions or otherwise, something like that. You can do, it depends how clever you are. You could take the buckets and you could shove a handle through the buckets. You could punch a hole on each side and shove a long pipe or a dowel or some kind of handle straight through it, right? Elsewhere amongst these videos on this channel, I've showed you how to do homemade forearm builders, right? Out of a dowel and some line or rope and a weight plate. You don't have to be a weight plate. Shit, it can be a big ass tin can, be a paint can, be anything. Anything you can fucking think of. It just goes on and on. It's endless. I can go outside and find a ton of shit. Jesus, I could probably pick up the fucking wheelbarrow and press it over my head a few times if I wanted to. You know what I mean? There's tons of ways you can work out. The thing is this, the most efficient way and so much more effective is going to be a gym membership. Okay? Then just a notch under that, but not much, is going to be training at home with your own equipment. And I'm only saying that because most likely most people, the majority of people, you do not have as much equipment and variety-wise as you can get in the gym, and you don't still have the space for that. But if you do, then that would be ideal. But ideal is to have a whole array of equipment to choose from, and like you would in a full-scale gym, or working out at home with equipment and dumbbells, barbells, all this other shit, benches, cables. But short of that, you could use lesser equipment. You can get weight sets relatively inexpensively. If you go to like swap meets and flea markets or yard sales, there's always people that are selling off weights and even whole pieces of equipment like the home versions of these multi-gyms with the cables and shit. You can pick them up very inexpensively. People buy these things and then they just end up taking up space in the house. The majority of people aren't like us. The majority of people, they will start it out and try it out, and they'll find out that it's not immediately gratifying, which it is immediately gratifying in my opinion, but my brain works differently. Our brains work differently. Okay? We understand. We're in it for the long game. We're playing the long game. And we get the stress relief out of it and all these other great factors, and we get to pump and it just feels so good. So of course we keep doing it. But there are most of the people out there think that's weird. Most of the people out there are going to get into it. They're going to find out that it's hard work, and they're going to say, fuck that. And they're just not going to do it. They'll go back to sitting their ass on the couch and eating fucking corn chips. So they'll sell that equipment off cheap. If you go to these yard sales and things, you don't need to find a whole bunch of shit. Just keep your eye out, and spend a couple bucks here and there. Find a couple plates here. Find, a 10-pound plate, 5-pound plate, quarter, 25-pound plate, maybe a bar. Who gives a shit if it's an inch bar or what? I've used inch diameter bars with fucking Olympic size whole plates. I've done that before even. I mean, you do whatever you got to do. You work with what you've got. In the meantime, you fabricate equipment and you just use common things that you can find in your home or you can find, period. Things in nature, fucking structures that are already pre-existing that are there. Do you have a park or something, a playground in your neighborhood? Do you have a playground that has like jungle gyms or has any of this kind of shit? You probably have a chin-up bar out there, a pull-up bar out there. If you do, you'll have ways you can, things you can utilize to work out with. So you're only limited by, your imagination, your creativity. If you really want to do it, you'll be able to do it. It's no excuse just because you don't have equipment. It's harder, but the main thing that makes it harder is just it's inconvenient, and it's harder to be motivated because it's not as exciting to most people, as putting the weights on a bar and actually seeing the weight add up as you go, and just the whole idea of being in the gym, the atmosphere, even if it's your home gym. So it's much harder to do it the way you're contemplating doing it, with no weights, no equipment, no gym membership at home, with odds and ends, but it's absolutely doable. It's the way I first started out. It's absolutely doable. But you can find weight sets now for pretty cheap. You can find shit, even if you have to get, the plastic coated concrete weights. Who gives a shit? The very first weights I ever had, that's what I had. They were shit, but I wasn't lifting shit anyway. It was adequate for me. I made gains with it. So don't let anything deter you. You know what I mean? You do what you know how to do. Don't sit there and spend the fucking whole day contemplating over if it's going to be worth your while or if it's going to build the muscle you want to build. Is it going to work? Just fucking do it. Like Nike says, just do it. All right? The time you spend contemplating and thinking it over, is it going to be worthwhile? Am I going to get any gains out of it? No, you're not getting gains out of it while you're just sitting there thinking about it. No, you're right. You're not getting any gains out of that. Go wrap your fucking dick beaters around something and curl it, heft it, press it, shrug it, whatever. All right? So good luck to you. Don't let that deter you. Don't let that stop you. Just fucking indomitable will, right? Testicular fortitude, right? And one more thing. If you're one of these kids that's sitting at home in his bedroom hours and hours on end, playing some kind of first-person shooter fucking bullshit, living in a fantasy world, instead of fucking dreaming about being another guy, be you. Make you the guy you want to be. Go out there and get it fucking done. Pack up that fucking game system or some of that crap you all have. I know you got some kind of useless electronic horse shit that is all it's doing is fucking being a detriment to your actual fucking physical fitness. Take that shit to play it against sports or one of these places like that and fucking trade that for a fucking set of weights. Trade it for some weights. Go and take it somewhere and sell it to some other fucking kid. Let him sit on his ass and get fat and play fucking PlayStation all day. Take the money and go buy you some equipment. That's what I would do. Anyway, take care. Best of luck to you. Now, could be you don't have a game system. Could be that you're poor as a motherfucking church mouse and you're on balls and knuckles. If that's the case, just keep doing what I just showed you to do to begin with, and it is what it is. It still ain't going to stop you none. But the only way it's not going to stop you is if you don't let it stop you. You got to make it happen. You got to make yourself into the man you want to be. You got to do it. It ain't just going to happen. All right? Best of luck to you. You can do it. Many, many have done it before you, and many, many will continue to do it. But more will not be able to do it. Why? Because they just don't have it here. They don't have the heart for it. They fucking can't stand to taste their own sweat running down their face. Oh, and I'd really be lax if I didn't tell you right now that your diet and nutrition is the most important factor. It's the most important factor. You can work out all you want. You have to eat to support your goals. Understand? Eat to support your goals. And I also want to say, you may not be able to afford equipment, but if somehow you can get any resistance bands or you have the chance you see any, don't be dissuaded because they don't look like iron. They just look like giant bands. Them fuckers are invaluable. You can do a shit ton with those things. A shit ton. If you have resistance bands, you can build a physique. Complete. They're fucking awesome. So bear that in mind. When mommy and daddy want to know what you want for Christmas, or anybody that gives a shit about you, resistance bands, baby. Or weights.